In a world where kindness and empathy are lauded as the highest virtues, the idea of not being soft to everyone can seem counterintuitive. Yet, Buddhist teachings offer profound insight into why striking a balance between compassion and discernment is essential, not only for others' well-being, but for our own peace and growth. When Gautama Buddha embarked on his spiritual quest over 2,500 years ago, he sought answers to some of life's most pressing questions. Why do we suffer? How can we achieve lasting happiness? After years of reflection, he realized that blindly indulging in extremes, whether of softness or harshness, was counterproductive. His teachings, encapsulated in the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path, provide a roadmap for navigating these nuances. A foundation in the Four Noble Truths. Let's first delve into the Four Noble Truths, the cornerstone of Buddhist philosophy, to understand why excessive softness can sometimes be a hindrance. 1. The truth of suffering, dukkha. Buddha teaches that suffering is an intrinsic part of life, be it physical pain, emotional turmoil, or the perpetual dissatisfaction stemming from endless craving. While being soft to everyone might provide temporary relief, it doesn't address deeper issues. For example, if a friend continuously makes poor decisions and we shield them from the consequences out of kindness, we might inadvertently perpetuate their suffering. 2. The truth of the cause of suffering. At its core, suffering arises from attachment and craving. The desire to always please others, or to avoid conflict, is itself a form of attachment. True compassion, as Buddha teaches, is about recognizing when our actions are motivated by fear or ego rather than genuine care. 3. The truth of the cessation of suffering. Liberation from suffering is possible when we let go of these attachments. This doesn't mean becoming cold or indifferent, but finding the courage to set healthy boundaries. For instance, declining to loan money to a relative with a history of financial irresponsibility isn't unkind. It's a compassionate act rooted in wisdom. 4. The truth of the path. The Eightfold Path provides practical guidance on balancing kindness with discernment. By following principles like right intention and right speech, we learn to navigate relationships with authenticity and compassion without compromising our own well-being. Why softness isn't always kindness. Softness is often confused with kindness. However, kindness isn't about indulging harmful behaviors or neglecting our own needs. Let's break this down further with some Buddhist concepts. 1. Compassion versus enabling. Enabling harmful behavior under the guise of compassion can lead to greater suffering. For example, continuously forgiving someone who disrespects boundaries may reinforce their destructive habits. True compassion seeks to address the root of the problem, even if it involves difficult conversations or decisions. 2. The parable of the raft. In this well-known story, a man uses a raft to cross a treacherous river. Once he's reached safety, he leaves the raft behind, recognizing it has served its purpose. Similarly, our softness should be like the raft, used when needed but discarded when it becomes a burden. The Eightfold Path. A guide to balanced living, the Eightfold Path teaches us how to navigate the complexities of relationships and personal growth. Let's explore a few key principles in this context. A right intention. Acting with genuine care, rather than seeking approval, ensures that our kindness is rooted in authenticity. For instance, offering advice to a friend out of concern for their well-being, rather than a desire to appear helpful, aligns with this principle. A right speech. Speaking truthfully and mindfully is more impactful than avoiding conflict. Saying, "I feel disrespected when you speak that way," is kinder in the long term than remaining silent and harboring resentment. A right action. Avoiding actions that cause harm also includes avoiding passive harm. Enabling someone's poor choices by being nice might seem harmless, but it often contributes to prolonged suffering. Striking the middle way. The middle way, a central tenet of Buddhism, emphasizes balance. It reminds us to avoid extremes, whether of harshness or blind softness. For example, setting boundaries. Imagine a colleague who habitually offloads their work onto you. While you may feel tempted to be accommodating, setting clear boundaries is both compassionate and wise. Navigating conflicts. Rather than avoiding disagreements to keep the peace, the middle way encourages open dialogue. Addressing issues with mindfulness often leads to stronger, more authentic connections. Let's look at some real-life scenarios to illustrate these teachings. 1. Helping a friend in crisis. Your friend is struggling with addiction. Blind softness might lead you to overlook their harmful behavior, but true compassion involves encouraging them to seek help, even if it means risking the friendship temporarily. 2. Parenting with wisdom. A child who refuses to study for exams might beg for leniency, while indulging them feels kind in the moment. Setting firm expectations and explaining the consequences is a greater act of love. These principles remind us that kindness isn't about avoiding conflict or being universally accommodating. Instead, it's about showing up with honesty, wisdom, and genuine care. If you're finding these teachings insightful, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, Buddhism in Modern Life, where we explore the profound wisdom of Buddha and how it can transform our everyday lives. Stay tuned for Part 2, where we'll dive deeper into the art of skillful means, explore the impermanence of relationships, and learn how to embrace mindfulness in navigating life's challenges. Picking up where we left off, the journey of navigating human relationships with wisdom and compassion requires not only understanding the teachings of Buddhism, but also applying them in meaningful, practical ways. In the first part, we explored the foundational principles of the Four Noble Truths, the Eightfold Path, and the Middle Way. Now, we will deepen our exploration by examining how these teachings translate into everyday challenges and decisions, offering a roadmap for living with clarity, resilience, and authentic compassion. Let us begin by revisiting one crucial aspect of Buddhist philosophy, the interconnectedness of all beings. This idea forms the backbone of how we can interact with others, balancing softness with discernment while remaining rooted in kindness. Understanding interconnectedness, the foundation of true compassion. In Buddhism, the concept of interconnectedness, or pratityasamutpada, teaches us that all beings and phenomena are interdependent. No action occurs in isolation, and every choice we make ripples outward, affecting the lives of others. This understanding reminds us that our actions, whether they involve softness or firmness, have consequences beyond the immediate moment. For example, imagine a parent who consistently says yes to their child's every request, believing that accommodating every desire will bring happiness. Over time, this pattern may inadvertently foster entitlement or dependency, preventing the child from developing resilience or responsibility. Here, the parent's good intentions, rooted in softness, may lead to unintended harm. Recognizing the interconnectedness of actions and outcomes, the parent could instead adopt a balanced approach, providing love and support while setting boundaries that guide the child toward growth. This principle extends to our broader relationships, whether we are interacting with friends, colleagues, or strangers. Recognizing interconnectedness encourages us to act with care and awareness, ensuring that our compassion uplifts rather than enables. When softness becomes a hindrance, the role of discernment. While compassion lies at the heart of Buddhism, it is essential to distinguish between genuine compassion and misplaced softness. Let's delve deeper into how discernment, a key aspect of wisdom, prajna, helps us navigate this delicate balance. 1. The danger of over-accommodation. One common pitfall of excessive softness is the tendency to over-accommodate others, even at the expense of our own well-being. For instance, consider a workplace scenario where a team member consistently avoids responsibilities, relying on others to pick up the slack. Out of a desire to maintain harmony, you might choose to cover for them, thinking it is the compassionate thing to do. However, this approach not only enables their behavior but also creates resentment among other team members and undermines the overall productivity of the group. In such situations, discernment involves recognizing when softness ceases to serve its purpose. Compassion, in this context, might mean having a candid conversation with the individual, offering them an opportunity to grow while holding them accountable for their actions. By doing so, you demonstrate care not just for the individual but for the entire group's well-being. 2. Setting boundaries as an act of compassion. Boundaries are often misunderstood as barriers that create distance or conflict. However, in Buddhism, boundaries are seen as acts of wisdom that protect both ourselves and others from harm. The Buddha himself set boundaries during his lifetime, declining to teach certain individuals who were not yet ready to receive his teachings. This was not an act of rejection but of discernment. He recognized that pushing wisdom on unreceptive minds would neither benefit them nor honor the Dharma. In your own life, setting boundaries might involve saying no to requests that drain your energy or conflict with your values. For example, if a friend repeatedly seeks financial help without addressing their spending habits, compassion might mean declining further assistance while encouraging them to seek financial counseling. Here, the act of saying no is not a denial of kindness but a commitment to their long-term well-being. The middle path in everyday life. Practical applications. The middle path, as we discussed earlier, is the Buddhist principle of avoiding extremes and seeking balance. This approach is especially relevant when navigating complex interpersonal dynamics. Below are some practical applications of the middle path that can help you balance compassion with firmness. 1. Responding to criticism with equanimity. Criticism is an inevitable part of life, and how we respond to it reflects our inner state. An overly soft response might involve accepting all criticism without discernment, leading to self-doubt and a loss of confidence. Conversely, an overly defensive response might escalate conflicts and close off opportunities for growth. The middle path encourages us to respond with equanimity, a calm and balanced state of mind. For instance, if a colleague criticizes your work, pause to evaluate the validity of their feedback. If it is constructive, thank them and use it as an opportunity to improve. If it is unfounded, calmly explain your perspective without becoming defensive. This balanced response fosters mutual respect and understanding. 2. Navigating difficult conversations. Difficult conversations, whether with family members, friends, or coworkers, often test our ability to balance compassion with assertiveness. Imagine a situation where a loved one struggles with substance abuse. Being excessively soft might mean avoiding the topic altogether, allowing the problem to persist. On the other hand, being overly harsh might alienate them, pushing them further away. A balanced approach would involve expressing your concerns with empathy while encouraging them to seek help. For example, you might say, "I care about you deeply, and I'm worried about how this is affecting your health. I'm here to support you, but I also think it's important to explore professional help." This approach acknowledges their struggles without enabling harmful behavior. The transformative power of tough love. Tough love is often misunderstood as a lack of compassion, but in Buddhism, it is seen as a form of skillful means, upaya. Tough love involves making choices that prioritize long-term well-being over immediate comfort. The story of Angulimala. One of the most powerful examples of tough love in Buddhist teachings is the story of Angulimala, a feared bandit who had committed numerous atrocities. When the Buddha encountered Angulimala, he did not react with fear or condemnation. Instead, he approached him with calmness and compassion, ultimately guiding him toward transformation. However, the Buddha also held Angulimala accountable for his actions, ensuring that he faced the consequences of his past deeds while offering him a path to redemption. This story highlights the essence of tough love, addressing harmful behavior with firmness while extending the possibility of growth and change. It reminds us that true compassion involves not only understanding others' suffering, but also empowering them to overcome it. The role of self-compassion in balancing softness and firmness. As we navigate the complexities of compassion and discernment in our relationships, it is crucial to extend the same kindness and understanding to ourselves. Self-compassion is not selfishness. It is the foundation that allows us to support others without losing our own balance. 1. Recognizing your limits. Just as the Buddha taught the importance of setting boundaries with others, he also emphasized the need to honor our own limits. If you constantly prioritize others' needs at the expense of your own well-being, you risk burnout and resentment. Practicing self-compassion means acknowledging your needs, taking time to recharge, and seeking support when necessary. 2. Letting go of guilt. Many people struggle with guilt when they set boundaries or say no to others. However, Buddhism teaches us that guilt is a form of attachment. an attachment to the idea of being perfect or universally liked. Letting go of guilt allows us to act with authenticity, recognizing that true compassion sometimes involves making difficult but necessary choices, embracing impermanence, and moving forward. As we conclude this exploration, let us reflect on the Buddhist teaching of impermanence. Anicca, life is constantly changing, and our relationships, emotions, and circumstances are no exception. Embracing impermanence allows us to approach every interaction with openness and adaptability, recognizing that what works in one moment may not work in another. 1. Finding peace in change. Impermanence teaches us that nothing lasts forever, neither joy nor sorrow, success nor failure. This understanding frees us from clinging to rigid notions of how things should be, allowing us to navigate life's ups and downs with grace. 2. Cultivating gratitude. Finally, impermanence reminds us to cherish the present moment. By practicing gratitude for the people and experiences in our lives, we deepen our connections and create a foundation for meaningful relationships. In the teachings of Gautama Buddha, we find a timeless reminder that compassion is not synonymous with softness, nor is firmness a lack of kindness. True compassion lies in the balance, the ability to act with wisdom, discernment, and a genuine desire to alleviate suffering. As we strive to embody this balance, let us remember that compassion begins with ourselves. By cultivating mindfulness, practicing self-care, and embracing impermanence, we create a life rooted in authenticity and harmony. And as we extend this compassion to others, we contribute to a world where kindness and wisdom go hand in hand. If you found this exploration meaningful, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, Buddhism in Modern Life, for more insights and practical tips on applying Buddhist teachings in everyday life. Together, let us walk the middle path and create a life of balance, clarity, and purpose. The practice of compassion in action. As we continue our exploration, it's essential to recognize that the balance between softness and firmness isn't just an intellectual exercise. It's a practice that must be lived. In this final section, we will delve into specific strategies, tools, and habits that can help you embody true compassion while maintaining discernment in daily life. 1. Mindfulness. The anchor of awareness. Mindfulness, sati, is the cornerstone of Buddhist practice and a powerful tool for cultivating balance. By training the mind to remain present, mindfulness allows us to respond to situations with clarity rather than reacting impulsively. How to apply mindfulness in relationships. A pause before responding. When faced with a challenging situation, take a moment to breathe and center yourself before responding. This pause creates space for wisdom to arise. Observe without judgment. Notice your thoughts, emotions, and bodily sensations during interactions. For example, if someone criticizes you, observe how your body tenses or your mind races to defend itself. This awareness helps you respond with equanimity. Practice loving-kindness meditation. Dedicate a few minutes each day to silently wish well-being for yourself and others. A simple phrase like, "May you be happy, may you be safe, may you be at peace," can transform your mindset and interactions. Imagine you are in a heated argument with a close friend. Instead of escalating the conflict, you pause, take a deep breath, and say, "I need a moment to gather my thoughts." This mindful pause not only prevents harmful words, but also opens the door to a more constructive conversation. 2. Compassionate communication. Speaking with purpose. Words have immense power to heal or harm, and in Buddhism, right speech, samavaka, is a key element of the Eightfold Path. Compassionate communication involves speaking truthfully and kindly, with the intention of fostering understanding and connection. Guidelines for right speech. Is it true? Before speaking, ensure that your words are grounded in truth. Avoid exaggeration or distortion, even when tempted to make a point. Is it helpful? Consider whether your words will benefit the listener. Sometimes, silence is more compassionate than speaking. Is it kind? Deliver your message with empathy, even when addressing difficult topics. For instance, instead of saying, "You're always late," you might say, "I feel stressed when plans are delayed. Can we work on being more punctual together?" In a workplace setting, A colleague repeatedly interrupts you during meetings. Instead of responding with frustration, you calmly say, "I value your input, but I'd appreciate the chance to finish my thoughts before we discuss them. Can we agree on that?" This approach maintains professionalism while asserting your boundaries. 3. Letting go of attachment, freeing yourself and others. Attachment, in Buddhist teachings, is a root cause of suffering. When we cling to expectations, outcomes, or roles, we create tension in our relationships. Letting go doesn't mean detachment or indifference. It means approaching life with openness and flexibility. The practice of letting go. Release unrealistic expectations. Accept that people are imperfect and will sometimes fall short of your hopes. For example, instead of expecting your partner to always understand your needs, communicate them clearly and appreciate their efforts. Detach from the outcome. Focus on doing what feels right, rather than controlling how others respond. If you offer advice to a friend but they choose a different path, let go of the need to be right. Cultivate gratitude. Appreciate relationships for what they are, rather than what you wish they could be. Gratitude shifts your focus from lack to abundance. You've planned a family gathering, but some relatives cancel last minute. Instead of feeling disappointed or resentful, you let go of the expectation that everyone must attend. You focus on enjoying the company of those who are present, embracing the impermanence of the moment. 4. Practicing self-reflection. Learning from each experience. Self-reflection is a vital tool for refining your ability to balance softness and firmness. By examining your thoughts, actions, and their outcomes, you can learn what works and what doesn't, deepening your wisdom over time. Questions for self-reflection. Did I act with both compassion and discernment? Reflect on whether your actions were rooted in kindness and guided by wisdom. And what can I learn from this experience? Even if a situation didn't go as planned, treat it as an opportunity for growth. Am I aligned with my values? Ensure that your choices reflect your core principles, even when it's challenging. After a disagreement with a colleague, you take time to journal about the interaction. You realize that your frustration stemmed from personal stress rather than their behavior. This insight inspires you to address your stress and approach future conversations with more patience. 5. Finding role models. Learning from inspiring examples. The Buddha's life offers countless lessons in balancing compassion and firmness. However, you can also find inspiration in contemporary role models who embody these qualities. Key traits to observe: empathy and understanding. How do they connect with others on a human level? A courage to set boundaries. When do they say no? And how do they handle it? A commitment to growth. How do they continuously strive to improve themselves and their relationships? A teacher or mentor who guides you with patience and constructive feedback can be a powerful example of balance. Notice how they create an environment of respect while challenging you to reach your potential. As we conclude, let us return to the heart of Buddhist practice: the aspiration to alleviate suffering for ourselves and others. Balancing softness and firmness is not a destination but a journey, a path that requires mindfulness, courage, and humility. In your daily life, remember, a compassion without discernment can lead to enabling harmful patterns. A firmness without kindness can create distance and conflict. A true balance arises from a commitment to understanding, growth, and interconnectedness. By walking this path, you not only cultivate harmony within yourself, but also contribute to a more compassionate and wise world. If this journey resonates with you, consider sharing these insights with others. Start small, practice mindfulness, set a boundary, or engage in a meaningful conversation. Over time, these actions will ripple outward, creating waves of positive change. For more guidance and inspiration, subscribe to our channel, Buddhism in Modern Life, where we explore practical ways to bring Buddhist wisdom into contemporary living. Together, let's create a life of balance, purpose, and compassion.